Okay, so we'll start with chapter 9, The Land of Dreams. And let's see what they get up to today, shall we? The children had had enough of adventures for some time. Their mother set them to work in the garden and they did their very best for her. Nobody suggested going to the enchanted wood at all. I hope old Moonface, Silky and the saucepan man got back to the tree safely, said Joe one day. Moonface was wondering the same thing about the children. He and Silky had been talking about it. We haven't seen the children for ages, he said. Let's slip down the tree, Silky, and make sure they get back all right, shall we? After all, it would be dreadful if they didn't get back. And their mother should be worrying about them. So one afternoon, just after lunch, Silky, Moonface and the saucepan man walked up to the door of the cottage. Beth opened it and shrieked with delight. Moonface, so you got back safely after all. Come in, come in. Silky, saucepan, you'll have to take off a kettle or two if you want to get through that door. The children's parents were out for a while. The children and their friends sat and talked about their last adventure. What land is at the top of the tree now? Asked Rick, curiously. I don't know, said Moonface. Like to come and see? No thanks, said Joe at once. We're going up there anymore. Well, come back and have tea with us, said Moonface. Silky's got some popcakes and I've made some Google buns. I don't often make them, and I tell you, they're a treat. Google buns, said Beth in astonishment. Whatever are they? You come and see, said Moonface, grinning. They're better than popcakes, aren't they, Silky? Much, said Silky. Well, Franny and I have finished our jobs, said Beth. What about you boys? We've got about half an hour's work to do, that's all, said Joe. If everyone helps, it'll only take about 10 minutes. We could leave a note for Mother and Father, and I would love to try the Google buns. Everyone went into the garden to dig up the carrots and put them into piles. It didn't take more than 10 minutes because they all worked so hard. They put away their tools, washed their hands, left a note for their parents, and then set off to the enchanted wood. Saucepan Man sang one of his ridiculous songs on the way. 2 tails for a kitten, 2 clouds for the sky, 2 pigeons for Christmas to make a plum pie. Everyone laughed. Joe, Beth and Franny had heard the Saucepan Man's silly songs before, but Rick hadn't. Go on, said Rick. Is this the silliest song I've ever heard? The Saucepan Man clashed 2 kettles together as he sang. 2 roses for Beth, 2 scoldings for Joe, 2 ribbons for Franny, with a hiddle hiddle ho. It's an easy song to make up as you go along, said Beth, giggling. Every line at the last has to begin with the word to. You can just think of any nonsense you like, and the song simply makes itself. Singing silly songs, they all reached the faraway tree. Saucepan yelled up it. Hey, what's his name? Let down a rope. There's a good fellow. It's too hot to walk up today. The rope came down. They all went up, one by one, pulled high by the strong arms of Mr. What's-his-name. Franny was unlucky. She got splashed by Dame Wash-a-Lot's water on the way up. Next time I go up the rope, I shall take an umbrella with me, she said angrily. Come on, said Moonface. Come and eat a Google bun and see what you think of it. Soon they were all sitting in the broad branches outside Moonface's house, eating popcakes and Google buns. The buns were very strange. They each had a very large raisin in the middle, and this was filled with sherbet. So when you got to the raisin bit, the sherbet frothed out and filled your mouth with fine bubbles that tasted delicious. The children got a real surprise when they bit their raisins, and Moonface almost fell off a branch with laughter. Come and see new cushions I've got, he said to the children when they'd eat as many cakes and buns as they could manage. Joe, Beth and Franny went to Moonface's funny round house. Moonface looked round for Rick, but he wasn't there. Where's Rick? He said. He's gone up the ladder to peep to see what land is at the top, said Silky. I told him not to. He's quite a naughty boy, I think. Gosh, said Joe, running out of the house. Rick, come back, you silly... Everyone began to shout, Rick! Rick! But no answer came down the ladder. The big white clouds swirled above silently, but no one could imagine why Rick hadn't come back. I'll go up and see what he's doing, said Moonface. So he went up and he didn't come back either. Then the old saucepan man went cautiously up. Step by step, he disappeared through the hole, and he didn't come back either. Whatever has happened to them? Said Joe in despair. Look here, girls. Get a rope out of Moonface's house and tie yourself and Silky to me. Then I'll go up the ladder, and if anybody tries to pull me into the land above, they won't be able to because you 3 can pull me back up, okay? Right, said Beth, and she knotted the rope around her waist. and Franny's, and then round Silky's too. Joe tied the other end to himself, then up the ladder he went. And before the girls knew what had happened, Joe was lifted into the land above, and they were all dragged up to their feet, scrambling somehow up the ladder and through the hole in the cloud. There they all stood in a field of red poppies with a tall man nearby, holding a sack over his shoulder. "Is that the lot?" he asked. "Good. Well, here's something to make you sleep." He put his hand in his sack and scattered a handful of the finest sand over the surprised group. In a moment they were rubbing their eyes and yawning. "This is the land of dreams," said Moonface sleepily. "And that's the Sandman. Goodness, how sleepy I am." "Don't go to sleep, don't go to sleep," cried Silky, taking Moonface's arm and shaking him. "If we do, we'll wake up and find that this land has moved away from the faraway tree. Come back down the hole, Moonface, and don't be silly." "I'm so sleepy," said Moonface, and lay down among the red poppies. In no time at all, he was snoring loudly, fast asleep. "Get him to the hole!" cried Silky. But Joe, Rick, and the saucepan man were all yawning and rubbing their eyes, too sleepy to do a thing. Then Beth and Franny slid down quietly into the poppies and fell asleep too. At last, only Silky was left. Not much of the sleepy sand had gone into their eyes, so she was wider awake than the rest. She stared at everyone in dismay. "Oh dear," she said. "I'll never get you all back down the hole myself. I'll have to get help. I must go and fetch what's-his-name and the angry Pixie and Dame Washalot too." There's a picture there of him. And all of his magical sleepy sand. There you go. She ran off to the hole, slipped down the ladder through the cloud and slid into the broad branch below. "What's his name?" she called. "Dame Washalot! Angry Pixie!" After a minute or two, Joe woke up. He rubbed his eyes and sat up. Not far off, he saw something that pleased him. It was an ice cream seller. The man was ringing his bell loudly. "Hey, Moonface, wake up!" cried Joe. "There's an ice cream man. Have you got any money?" Everyone woke up. Moonface felt his money in his bag and then stared in great surprise. It was full of marbles. Now, who put marbles there? He wondered. The ice cream man drove up. "Marbles will do. Pay for my ice cream," he said. So Moonface paid him in 6 marbles. The man gave him each a bag and drove off. Ringing his bell, Moonface opened his bag, expecting to find delicious ice cream there, but there was a big whistle. It was really odd. Everyone else had a whistle too. "How extraordinary," said Rick. "This is the kind of thing that happens in dreams." "Well, after all, this is dreamland," said Beth. "I wonder if these whistles blow." She blew hers. It was very loud indeed. The others blew theirs too, and at once 6 policemen appeared nearby, running for all their worth. They rushed up to the children. "What's the matter?" they cried. You're blowing police whistles. What's happened? Do you want help?" "No," said Rick with a giggle. You must come to the swimming pool," said the policeman, and everyone's surprised they were all led away. "Why the swimming pool?" said Franny. "Listen, policeman, we've not got any swimsuits." "Oh, you naughty storyteller," said the policeman nearest to her. And to Beth's surprise, she found that she had a blue and white swimsuit, and all the others in swimsuits too. They all came to the swimming pool, but there was no water in it at all. "Now, get in and swim," said the policeman. "There isn't any water?" said Rick. "Don't be silly." And then, very suddenly, all the policemen began to cry. And in no time at all, the swimming pool was full of all their tears. "This sort of thing makes me feel quite funny," said Joe. I don't really want to swim in any tears. Quick, everyone, push the policeman into the pool." And in half a second, all the policemen were kicking feebly in the pool of tears, and the children watched as they changed into blue fishes and swam away, flicking their tails. "I feel as if I'm in a dream," said Rick. "So do I," said Joe. "I wish I could get out of it." "Oh, look, there's a plane coming down. Perhaps we could get into it and fly away." The plane, which was small and green, landed nearby, and there was nobody in it at all. And the children ran up and got in. Joe pushed down the handle marked "Up." "Off we go," he said, and off they went. Now that is the end of chapter 9. Okay, I would like to have a nice think about chapter 9 and think about why everything was a little bit weird. So I would like you to think about the last time that you had a dream. When was the last time you had a dream? Think about it. Now, does it always make sense? Do dreams always make sense? Or do sometimes things happen in different directions and 1 minute you're here, 1 minute you're there, then you're doing something else, and then something changes into something else, and you think you're speaking to somebody, but it's not actually them, it's somebody else, or it's a giraffe. So dreams don't always make sense. That's why this chapter is a little bit all over the place, isn't it? The policemen turn to fishes, they cry and it fills up the whole swimming pool, and then the kids find a plane. So the children have found a plane now and they're about to fly away. So the next chapter is called A Few More Adventures. So they stay in the land of dreams for a little bit more. So I want you to have a think about what might happen in the land of dreams. But I would also today, for your main task, like you to think about the songs that were sung at the start. So let me just find them now. Okay, so on page 67, see it there? Okay, there are two songs, one here and one here. And they go like this. 2 tails for a kitten, 2 clouds for the sky, 2 pigeons for Christmas, to make a plum pie. And the other one goes, 2 roses for Beth, 2 scoldings for Joe, 2 ribbons for Franny, with a ho diddle ho. Now, I would like you to make up your own little song or little poem today using that rule. Now, remember, Beth says in the story, it's an easy song to make up as you go along, said Beth, giggling. Every line but the last has to begin with the word to. And you just think of any nonsense you like and the song simply makes itself. So because your task today is to make up your own little song in the pattern that they've used, I'm going to show you now the song so you can see it and we can have a look at the pattern together as well. So 2 seconds. Here we have the song. Okay, so this is the second part of the song. So we just took this little bit here. So it says, 2 roses for Beth, 2 scoldings for Joe, 2 ribbons for Franny, with a ho diddle ho. So let's have a look here at where the patterns are. So we already know that we need to have 2, 2 and 2 on our first 3 lines. We've got 2, 2 and 2. But there is another pattern too that Beth doesn't tell us in the story. Can you see what that pattern is? You might have already got it. If not, I'll give you a wee clue. Let's have a look at the last words. Beth, Joe, Franny, ho diddle ho. Any of that rhyme? Beth and Joe, does that rhyme? Nope. Does Franny and Joe rhyme? Nope. Beth and Franny? Nope. What about Joe, ho diddle ho? That does rhyme, doesn't it? So we have Joe and we have ho diddle ho. So especially the ho at the end of the whole thing. Ho diddle ho. So your pattern for your song, because your task today is to create your own little song. Now, you don't have to sing it if you don't want to. That's absolutely fine. You can just write it down for me, and then or you can read it out for me and show me a video. That's absolutely fine as well. If you want to put some music to it, do a bit of a beat with it too, that's fine. So it could be about anything. You can make it up however you want. So it could be something like 2 noses for a hippo, 2 toes for a goat, 2 cakes for a banana in a big rowing boat. So you can have whatever you want. Just got to make it up. And just make it up as you go along. And you just make sure that this line and this line rhymes and that you have 2, 2 and 2 in the front. So I look forward to seeing your fabulous songs. Let me know how you get on. So you can just write them down for me if you don't want to perform them. But if you want to clap along with them, then that's absolutely fine too. You could use some of the rhythm techniques that we've been doing over the past couple of weeks. It's up to you. But I look forward to seeing your little nonsense songs. Have a fabulous day and I will see you soon.